This is the MLW Radio Network.
Welcome, everybody, to the Mind of the Meanie, your weekly peek into the world according to former WWE superstar and ECW original, the Blue Meanie. We'll cover wrestling, music, movies, sports, and lots of useless knowledge, all contained in the Mind of the Meanie. I am your tour guide, Josh Shernoff, and he is the Blue Meanie. Blue Meanie, what's on your mind?
My apologies to you, Josh Shernoff, and the rest of the pod squad, because I was about 3 wipes away from taking another shower today. So,
oh my. And episode 45 kicks off with a bang.
Yeah. I had a fucking 3-foot alarm. Well, yeah, it happened, buddy. So today's going swimmingly.
Hey, drop the kids off at the pool.
I took the Browns to the Super Bowl. Yeah. Nah. It happens. They almost made it. No. Everything's good, man. It's fucking cold, man. I said it before, and I'll say it again. January through March, like the day after New Year's through March, can kiss my ass. I hate this time of year. It's just like so fucking depressing.
It is.
Oh my god.
It is.
But the one thing I got to look forward to is doing this podcast every week, and reaching out to the Pod Squad, and interacting with other humans. So yeah, that's the one great thing about doing this podcast. It's like I got something looking forward to, like, during the year, like pre-podcast. Like, I would always look forward to, like, football season and baseball season and all that stuff, and there's always that in between football and baseball season where it's just like there's hockey and basketball, but there's something about football that's, really, gets my juices flowing. And, like, that period in between football and baseball season is just like the weather's gloomy. It's cold. It's, like, dark at 4 o'clock.
For a split second, we had the XFL.
Dude, I was
back.
a big fan of it. It'll be back. And I went to the first game last year, and it was a fucking blast. It was a great time. I went to the game in Washington, which was like the first inaugural game back, or whatever, however you want to phrase it. I'm sure somebody will correct me. Yeah, but XFL is great, man. I can't wait for it to come back. And now that The Rock's running it,
I was gonna say, your friend Dwayne, maybe he can hook us up with some season passes. Meanie, what do you think? Just just shoot him a text.
I'll tweet him like the cool kids do.
Slide into his DMs.
Yeah. Nah. Now that he's running it, not that like Vince was bad at running it, but The Rock, everything he touches. Again, it sounds like I'm dissing WWE, which I'm not. But like Rock has like that Midas touch,
Yeah, it's interesting because WWE, obviously, stupid successful with things that they do, and we can talk about that in a minute with the network. But
I definitely want to talk about that.
Yeah, I'm curious to get your ideas on it, your thoughts on it. But something about The Rock, one of the challenges I think from the beginning, the XFL way back in the day, and they didn't help themselves at all by having, Vince McMahon, welcome to, and all that stuff, and then having, Jerry Lawler and they didn't help themselves one bit. Ironically, they had The Rock at the first XFL show, introduced, but in total gimmick and all that stuff. I don't think, no matter what, I don't think they were ever able to get away from the fact that, it's the wrestling people. But The Rock has managed to, like, he's The Rock. And like, oh yeah, he did wrestling. And then he did this. And then he did that. And he did all these different things. But people don't see it the same way, as like a Vince McMahon who has been so successful, but it doesn't matter. Yeah. So, I think it's gonna be awesome.
And after that first game, he had that like press conference, and he was so combative with the press.
He's not good with the press. He's really not.
Who's got questions? All right, anybody got something to say now?
Yeah, I'm not sure I appreciate your tone, lady. Yeah, that was a different press conference, but hey, shout out to I'm looking at your shirt that you're rocking.
Oh yeah, man.
For our non-Patreon members, let's talk a little bit about that.
It's my boy Giovanni Hamilton. I'm wearing his hoodie. It says Philly Sports with Giovanni, which is on the Eagles Brawl Network. Meanie's Eagles recaps wrapped for the year since the Eagles shit the bed. But Giovanni, man, he's I just did his podcast this week over on the Eagles Brawl Network. Kid's 13 years old. And he's probably been through more than like the average human being's been through, could go through at 13. Mm-hmm. He's had like 17 surgeries. He has a form of dwarfism, which it's really fucked him up. He had to get like eye surgery. He had to get jaw surgery. And now he's in the process of going in for elbow surgery because his elbows keep dislocating. It's Jesus. Like, everything that comes along with, his condition, which there's a name for it that's slipping my mind. But the most important thing is to remember, Giovanni's a warrior, man. He's a fighter. And
what did you say? He's 15, right?
13.
13. God, when I was 13, if I stubbed my toe, it would have been a week of me feeling sorry for myself and pissed off at the world for my horrible luck. Here's a dude who's been through such shit. And is the most positive kid I feel like I've ever seen. His videos I've never met him in person, but his videos on social media, he's just so, even when, diehard Eagles fan, but even when they lose, he's just like, dust himself off and try again type attitude. And it's just, I talked about at 13, got at 37. I could learn a thing or two from him.
Dude, when I think I'm having a bad day, I think of Giovanni. I call him Gio. We're pals. Yeah.
Gio, but Dwayne, DJ,
Dewey. I think of Giovanni. I was like, man, he's been through so much shit. Yeah. And he's still got that positive attitude to the fact that, we're diehard Eagles fans, and as a diehard Eagles fan, for those who don't know, like our listeners outside the U.S., the biggest rivalry for the Philadelphia Eagles is the Dallas Cowboys. Especially when both teams are doing good, that's when it gets like to a fever pitch. Now, not so much, but the quarterback for Dallas got knocked out of a game this year with a dislocated ankle.
Yeah.
Fuck
that
up.
Dislocated. That was that's all it was? Dislocated?
Slight dislocation and a fracture, whatever. But Giovanni, being the Eagles superfan, put out a video saying, hey, hope you get better and, speedy recovery and all that stuff. And, like, he's gone viral a few times just being so positive, which, I know with social media isn't, like, the cool thing to do is to be positive. But, and then, like, Dak Prescott slid into his DMs and thanked him and stuff like that. And then, like, typical Giovanni, we're having a lot of controversy with Carson Wentz as the quarterback. But, like, Giovanni, and, like, at the end of the year, everybody does, like, a press conference, end of season press conference. Carson hasn't talked to the media or whatever. Mm-hmm. So Giovanni puts out a text, Carson, I love you. You're still my quarterback, all that stuff. And the only person Carson Wentz talked to in all season, he tweeted to fucking Giovanni.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's just like, of course. So, they, I sent Giovanni a BWO shirt, and in return they sent me this Philly
awesome.
Sports with Giovanni hoodie.
Oh, it's a hoodie you're wearing.
Yeah, actually, I'm wearing two hoodies right now because it's fucking freezing in this Trey Meanie Studios is a lovely room, but it's the coldest part of the house because the rest of the house we have neighbors insulating us in. But this room is like an addition onto the house, so like there's 3 sides exposed, so like it's harder to warm this room up. So yeah, I'm doing the double hoodie. I'm double bagging it right now.
Speaking of additions, so I've got an addition being put on my house.
Yes,
a year in the making. It got shut down. We had all this idea. We're like, well, you know what? We'll get this done. This will be great before the baby comes, before all that, and here we are, baby 7 months old. Everything's shut down.
It's so crazy. 7 months already.
Yeah, it's crazy. It really is crazy. But he's crawling around all over the place. Got 2 little teeth coming in.
Well, how about the baby?
No, he's doing well too. But no, so
I don't even know what that meant.
So they put on my wall here. They got to have like a crawl space to get into the addition. It has like a little crawl space under it. They haven't cut the hole yet, which is really nice. They're doing all their work, kind of just dropping through the floor and outside in the addition. But they basically took all of the concrete out. They took the cinder block out. So there's really just drywall between me and the outside here. So this room got so cold. Thankfully, this past Monday, they installed heaters in this room. And we went with China this time. Different type of heater. But no, so this is great now. So we've been able to use the basement and, so I got my new carpet coming on Wednesday. So I'll be able to finally get everything all set up and totally finished just in time for him to go, all right, yeah, we got to cut that hole in your wall. So,
dude, like hearing you go through what you go through with your fucking house reminds me of like all the people who tell me and Tracy, how come you're not married? Why don't you have kids? Don't you want kids? And then I see them with their kids. I'm like, why would I want kids?
Yeah.
No, I see, it's not present company excluded because you're a great father and you have great kids.
Thank you.
But I see other people with their kids who are telling us we should have kids. I'm like, I see how you are with kids. I'm not good. I'm good.
Dude, I can tell you.
But to see what you're going,
my kids, I think they're the best. But dude, if I didn't want kids, I don't know how the hell I would. And if they weren't cute, there are times these kids drive me fucking insane. But I love them. It's worth it.
I always say the best form of contraception is the toy lane at McDonald's. If you ever want to, if you're deciding about having kids, go to the toy lane at McDonald's and just watch parents ignore their kids, just doing crazy shit. But like I was trying to say, like I see everything. Like I had offers to buy, like I rent this place, and like the landlord was like, "Hey, if you ever want to buy it, let me know." I was like, "I'm thinking about it." But I see. It's like, man, I know what needs to be done in this place, and I'd rather have it on his docket than mine. But I consider myself a good tenant because there's stuff that could be done here, but I just don't break balls about it,
So it's funny, my brother,
because we get away with doing so much, like redecorate. Like, dude, everything we done to this house, like redecorating the room, redecorating the room, painting, doing whatever we want. When I was a kid, we had a house in Gloucester, and our house was connected to the doctor's office of the doctor we rent it from. And one spring, we did like spring cleaning. We cleaned the house, wiped down the paints, repainted the walls. And when the doctor found out we painted the walls in the house, he raised our rent because he said we did something to improve the house.
Really? So you improved the house, so now it was worth more, so you had to charge you more.
Yeah.
What an asshole.
Yes. We went into our own pockets, bought the paint, painted the whole inside of the house to make it look great. Oh, you painted the house? Well, I'm going to have to charge you more rent.
My brother once said about home ownership, he said, it's both incredibly rewarding and a constant kick in the pants.
Yeah.
It really is. It's if we were renting, we couldn't put an addition on. Like we had the ability to say, because our kitchen was really small. It's the house was built in the 80s. Everything is like, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Like we have like some rooms that are just like obnoxiously gigantic. There's no reason for it to be so big where we're just like looking at it going, this is an enormous waste of space. Right. And then we had this kitchen that you would have thought was from like an like a little like 1-bedroom apartment versus, you know, a 4-bedroom house. So it, you know, and it like didn't work. So we decided to extend that. And we were also, the big catalyst for it was having another kid. We wanted to have a guest room. So because we've had a guest room all along, both of our families live in Florida, and we wanted to have, you know, a guest room for people. Well, when all this happened, we were like talking, we said, you know what, for a guest room, first of all, nobody's coming now. And secondly, I'd really like a place to put like our gym equipment. You know, we've got weights in the garage, which you can't go in the garage now because weather like this, I mean, yeah, it's still inside. So the garage is, you know, only 40 degrees. But so this year we're going to have a little like home gym area.
It sounds crazy. I would take 40 degrees right now. It is fucking ball shrinking cold out there.
Devin Miller says humble brag. It's a hashtag humble brag. Are you talking about my my 4-bedroom house?
Yeah.
Is that?
I guess.
I'm
We live in two totally different situations too, because you, like, for those who don't listen, like where you live, you have a house, but it's unattached. I live in a 3-bedroom house, and I live in South Philly, and South Philly's all row homes, basically, where your house is attached to another house. So like, if I'm, you know, if we're like talking, like sometimes I can hear I hear something, I go, oh, that's the neighbors.
Yeah.
Like, what was that fucking noise, you know?
I lived in a townhouse about 2 miles from where I am now. I lived for almost 8 years in a townhouse, and it really wasn't bad except for like some nights, like late at night, I'd just like play guitar. And, you know, I'd sit in like, I had a room. Originally, I owned it with my brother, and so when he got married and moved out, I turned that room into just basically where I kept my guitars. So I'd sit there. Every once in a while, if it was like 3 a.m. and I was playing guitar, and I'm not jamming, I'm just like, you know, noodling around a little bit, but I'd get like a knock on the wall. I'd be like, oh shit, I guess they can hear me. But I never really heard them. Yeah.
Keep it down, Wonderwall.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, I love, we talked a lot about, you know, before doing the edition, we talked about, you know, what about buying another house? Well, it's amazing, but number one, you get new construction. This house is built in the 80s, but you get new construction. You can't, I mean, there's no yard. We have a great yard. You can't get that now. You'll spend like literally twice the money on a house of the same size and get less yard, like almost no yard at all around here for new construction. Yeah. And then it's also like you're talking about the same square footage, but they're just price gouging you on everything. Like it's just so much more expensive. So, you know, we went with the addition instead. You know, it's, I'm excited about it. We have no kitchen right now. It's been completely gutted. Our kitchen table is in the, is just off in another room. And we actually saved the microwave and put it on a counter in the laundry room. But the microwave like kind of has like a rounded bottom. So you have to literally, to open the door, you have to like lift it up and open. So it'll open thing. But I mean, we're making it work. And, but no, yeah, I'm happy with it. And I got my little studio down here, my Shernoff office. And, you know, I'm
glad that stuck, the Shernoff office. I'm glad you stuck with that.
Oh yeah. And, Slichter made an awesome, graphic for it. So
he made one for DeMeanie Studios too, which I need to get put on like a sign.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can get one. Like I actually it would be neat to have here to be like on camera, but I almost want to have it like, I want to get like a plaque of it made for my door.
Yeah.
Like into the basement. Just for fun, just so no one will see it but me, but it'll be kind of fun. But I like it. I'm a big fan of The Office, and it was patterned after the The Office logo. So,
well, I just got that. I just got the
Pardon my
Peacock
syphilis.
Network. That's okay. I forgive you.
Yeah, I could always use my gimmick button, but
dude, I gotta apologize because like I don't know what it is about this fucking room. I come in here and we were saying this off air with the Pod Squad. It's like right before we start recording, I like get the itchiest fucking nose, and
yeah, I get the
always make the joke.
I get literally the exact same thing, but it's my asshole.
Hey man, I'm standing right here. You have to call me names.
That's when people go like, so you and Meanie off air, you guys close? I'm like, oh, dude, he's my best asshole. He's,
well, excuse me while I wipe my asshole. Yeah, wipe your asshole right here. Hold on. Oh, my fucking nose.
Man.
I always make the joke that I look like the world's fattest cokehead because I'm always rubbing my fucking nose. I beat myself up over it, you know, and then I try to duck off camera to wipe because I don't want, nobody needs to see that. Ain't got time for that shit. But, yeah, man. Speaking of The Office, I went and got the Peacock Network.
Yeah, let's talk about that
And,
before we get into that.
Which has The Office on it. Yeah.
Before we get into that, I just want to say we have our Patreon members watch along with us live, which is awesome. And they love to chat with each other, which is even more awesome. And occasionally throughout the show, I will peek in to see if they're asking us something. And I just noticed our good friend Travis Steenstra, who's been a Patreon member for a long time.
For life.
He wrote that sadly he had to put Voodoo down last week. That was his big, cute black cat that joined us on our first Zoom call, if you remember, Meanie.
Yeah.
His best friend ever. So we just wanted to take the opportunity on the pod to send our condolences.
Absolutely.
That's really upset. You know, when I actually took a screenshot of that on our first Zoom call and showed my wife because Voodoo looked almost identical to my cat Hallie that we lost last year. And it was just so great to see your cat on there. And yeah, I'm just, you know, meaning we've talked about this on the pod before. We you know, with pets and stuff, we've been there. It sucks. So we're thinking of you and
absolutely,
and your wife and yeah. So it's very sorry for your loss, man.
Yeah, my condolences. Our condolences. In the words of George Carlin, when you buy a small pet, you're purchasing a small tragedy.
Yep.
So to the point where like I lost my dog Sammy in 1995. We unfortunately we had to put him down, and I was like, never again. I was like, never again. And then you know, me and Mrs. Meanie have become like, I mean, we are cat people, and we're like, we so want to get a cat, but then we're like, man, you know, it's just like I said, when you buy a pet, you're getting you're purchasing a small tragedy. Yeah. But we're surrogate cat people because our friend Donnie, you know, my boy Donnie and Bev of Donnie and Bev fame, they have a cat named Biggie, big black cat named Biggie, and like he's like a character on his own. We're like, look at this asshole, you know, he's big, like he's just like this big furry black cat, and like just does random shit, just like. You'd be walking up the steps and then something swipes from you on the other side of the banister. Like, oh, what the fuck? It's fucking Biggie, you know? Yeah. But, you know, yeah, that's our fix. We don't have kids, but, you know, we're good around other people's kids. We don't have pets, but we kind of rent other people's pets while we're at their house. And we just
Travis said that they're cat parents. You know, that's you know. Yeah, it sucks when I saw that, and before we continued on, and I was worried I'd forget to say something as the comments continued, but yeah.
Well, that's the thing.
It's
here at the Pod Squad, we're all family, you know, and Yeah, that sucks, man. Having to lose a pet. We've all been there.
Yeah.
It's a pet is like a member of the family.
Yep.
They're there for you. They don't judge it. Well, sometimes
Cats judge you a bit, which is
Cats
why when they
judge you.
love you, it's so much. It means so much more. So
cats make you earn it.
Yep. I always feel like a cat. Like I remember, like our cat would like sleep in the bed with us and stuff, and I always just felt like when that cat would give me enough space that I could sleep comfortably, it was like I was sleeping in her bed. You know, like she was magnanimous enough to allow, my wife and I to share her bed. And you know that was the mindset going into it. But I also had that with dogs as well that would come in and just try to get right into the middle. When I had a dog who would run in, he would scratch at my door when I was a kid, and I had just like a little twin bed, and he would scratch at my door, and I'd go and open my door, and he would run and curl up right smack in the middle of my bed, like to sit with me. And I want to go back to sleep, but I can't like move him out of the way. And it's, but pets are fun.
Yeah. I love dogs, but I love the independence of a cat.
Yes.
Here's your food. Here's your water. Fuck off. Here's your box. Behave or I will shit in your box.
Sometimes even if you do behave.
Yeah. What do you got, a mountain lion in here? What the fuck? Seriously, my condolences.
Yes. Absolutely.
Our condolences.
Shifting gears though to what you were beginning to talk about with the Peacock Network. I first want to say, Meanie, before you get going on that, I don't know if everybody noticed the Mind of the Meanie logo, Trey Meanie Studios, and I guess the Blue Meanie was there too, appearing on the WWE Network this past week, thanks to Sam Roberts, the great Sam Roberts, a man of hair, kind of hair.
I love Sam. I've known Sam forever. And he's so like he had me do the video for his season finale of Not Sam Wrestling on the WWE Network. And he's so modest that like I put him over in the video and he totally chopped it out. But
really?
I'll say what I was like, he's a friend of the business, an asset to the business because he never wrestled, but he's always carried the torch of professional wrestling. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's, kind of, not kind of. He is in the mainstream with, Sirius XM and
back in like
the
Opie and Anthony days, like he was. That's when I originally knew him from. Like, dude was always, because back then, if I remember correctly, he was just kind of like they'd like bring him on as this dude who just was obsessed with wrestling and would talk about wrestling and stuff. Like I'm sure he's on for other things too, but that's what I always remembered. He's been carrying he's been carrying the flag for wrestling for a long time. Definitely been the flag bearer for professional wrestling. So when he asked me to come on and just do a little video, that was cool. I was flattered, and it was cool to be on the WWE Network again for something current, because I'm on there for all the ECW stuff, WWE stuff. Yeah. But for Sam to have me be a part of his first season finale was really cool. It was really cool. I was very flattered. Yeah, I thought that was awesome. Well, now let's talk about the WWE Network. WWE Network is moving. It's no longer Peacock. It's WWE Cock. And breaking news. Yes, the WWE Network will be absorbed by the Peacock Network. And Meanie, you and I have talked about this over the last week. Like, this is a win-win. Like, all the way around. This is so. Like, I've held off on getting the Peacock Network. Same. And I even was like, let me check out the new Saved by the Bell, because I was a huge Saved by the Bell fan back in the day. And I'm like, oh, cool, it's free. I watched the first episode, and I'm like, this wasn't really that good. But I'm like, all right, but I'll try the second one. And they're like, oh, you have to subscribe. And I'm like, no, this wasn't worth it. I did get it for the Psych movie, though. But that was also free on there as well. So But the thing is, I've wanted it. I would love to have to pay for it. I hate the ads. You can do $4.99 for ads on Peacock or $9.99 ad free. Well, now I already pay $9.99 for the WWE Network. So now you're talking about paying $9.99 and you're just getting the Peacock Network.
Well, or I hate this. We sound like a huge commercial for Peacock because really we get nothing.
They ain't paying us shit. Put that out there. We
get nothing for this, but just to smarten up fans, about it. Or if you don't care about that, you could get the WWE Network for $4.99. But you would have ads. What I did, they have annual plans where if you pay up front, they knock off like 2 months. So for $99.99, you could get a year of Peacock, or for $49.99, you could get a year of Peacock. So either way, you're going to be paying. You can pay significantly less that you're already paying, but you get the WWE Network and you get the Peacock Network, which is like you said. I was on the fence about getting it. They got sports stuff on there too, which I'm curious about and all that good stuff. So. Yeah, for me, it was like a no-brainer, as far as having both. You're getting 2 for 1. So, and I saw a couple people go, "Oh, bad move." I was like, "How?
Yeah, well, how's it a
bad move where you're going to get 2 streaming services for the price of one?" WWE, they're renting out their WWE Network to Peacock for 5 years for $1 billion. So
now I do have a question. WrestleMania, right?
Yes.
Let's say you pay $4.99 for the Peacock with ads. Do we know how that works with WrestleMania?
I don't think it affects live events.
Okay.
They might run like an ad before the live stream goes on, but if that's the case, oh well.
I mean, $4.99. If you pay, WrestleMania is like $80 or something on pay-per-view. Why anyone? Why anyone still orders WWE pay-per-views on pay-per-view is beyond me. There is no reason for it. And I know people are going to be like, well, not everybody has it. No, bullshit. If you can order pay-per-view, that means you have a cable company sending cable into your home, correct?
Right. Correct.
And I'm fairly certain that even the cheapest of cable companies are bundled in with some form of internet. Maybe it's crappy internet, maybe whatever it is. A Roku stick is like $20.
Right.
There is no, if you're, and some people go, well, not everyone has $20. Fair. But they somehow have $70 to pay for WrestleMania. So my question is, why have they not been saying, okay, I pay for my cable. I'm going to take of that $70. I'm going to deduct $20 to get myself a Roku stick. Now I still got $50. Then I'm going to deduct $9.99. We'll round that up to $10 for this 1 month to watch WrestleMania. Okay.
Yeah.
Which, for the record, you sign up and that first month is free, but disregard that. You will come out ahead by $40 to $50 for WrestleMania by buying a Roku stick, plugging it into your television, and getting the WWE Network. You will save money. So I've heard the excuse of like, not everyone can afford this, that, or the other, all that stuff. But if the excuse, and that is true, but if the reason you're getting WWE pay-per-views on pay-per-view is because you think you can't afford the network, you're wrong, because you're actually spending significantly more money, not even just a year, but a month, by getting the pay-per-views than you would to outfit yourself with the ability to get the network. I want someone to prove me wrong on that theory. Because I'm just saying, I think there are people who genuinely are looking at it going, oh, dude, $9.99 a month. I can't have that monthly bill coming. I can't have that extra thing. And I get that. There's people out there, especially in tough times now, where $9.99, that could send you over. That could send you, you have other bills that need to be handled. I get that.
Right.
And I'm not talking about the people who can't afford it, and so they're not watching at all. I'm talking about the people who say they can't afford it, but are then buying the pay-per-view. It doesn't make any sense. If you can afford the pay-per-view, you can afford to get the network for yourself and 2 friends. Like, anyway.
I'll even, oh yeah, let's do our seltzers real quick.
Yeah, I got hot. I need a drink. I just got lime. I just have a lime seltzer.
I got the orange pineapple.
Very nice.
One day I'll get this camera angle gimmick for the camera in good.
There we go.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1. But on the whole, oh yeah. Always enjoy your drink out loud. I'll even go one step further with this whole Peacock thing, right? Mm-hmm. If you have Xfinity cable, Peacock's included. Yeah. So you're already paying for a cable bill. Peacock, if you're Xfinity, which is Comcast, owns NBC. Mm-hmm. NBC's Peacock. So if you have Comcast cable, Xfinity cable, whatever you want to fucking call it, I still call Impact TNA. I don't know.
I still call WWE WWF. So
yeah, you're old school, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, seriously, you get at no extra charge Peacock. So essentially, just for having cable, you get the WWE network, and you get WrestleMania, and you get all the entire library that they're going to have. Basically, it's going to be the same exact thing, just on Peacock or WWE cock, whichever you prefer to call it. But yeah, man, it seems like a no-brainer. Especially for somebody like me who's a cord cutter. I don't have cable. I got internet. That's about it. But I do the Netflix, the Hulus. We just got Discovery Plus, which is pretty cool. It's like $5 a month. Yeah, I'm a big mark for ghost shows, like Ghost Hunters, and my friend Amy Bruni and Adam Berry. They have a show on, I believe, the Travel Channel, but it's aired on a bunch of different stuff called Kindred Spirits, where they go to different places and investigate hauntings and stuff like that. So we got it for that, so we can catch up and
very cool.
Watch all the previous episodes as well. So yeah, we're in this. It's a good time to be a cord cutter, because like all these different avenues of watching TV. Like if you don't care about watching something live,
and even then, you can watch it live. Like I know there are tons of things that you can still stream live.
Yeah. Well, that's why I think I like about Peacock too, because they say they have live sports, and I'm not sure which live sports. It kind of looks like it might just be soccer at this point, but
I thought you said sports.
Huh?
What? I'm just kidding.
What's that?
I was just shitting on soccer.
You son of a bitch. But yeah. Hopefully, because NBC Sports Philly. We have NBC Sports in Philly here, which broadcasts the Sixers, Flyers, and Phillies. Mm-hmm. Hopefully that becomes part of the package too, So,
yeah,
we shall see. But I'm excited.
You fast forward 5 years, and you're gonna get everything on there. Like anything that you could ever get on an NBC affiliate will be on the Peacock network within 5 years. Yeah,
I heard right now they're going to be moving a lot of stuff from different streaming services over to Peacock and make Peacock the Grand Central Station of all their content, which is fine by me.
Yeah, I mean, every time there's like a big paradigm shift in whether it's, pop culture or just, media or whatever it is, I'm searching for a term I can't find. But when there's a big shift, there's always some growing pains. There's always I don't know if I can do this. I don't know what I'm supposed to go on the internet without AOL. How's that work? I got to log on through AOL. I just finished setting up my profile. But
I know I have older friends who still call DVDs tapes.
Well, they're just wrong.
Yeah.
But I will still say things like, I guess like, did you tape something or did you do something like that? Like when when it's not tape being used, it's a DVR or something,
Yeah.
But, or like, oh, did you film this?
Yeah.
You film it on your iPhone. Well,
yeah.
You can't because there's no film. So you can't film it. You can record it, but you can't film it.
Yeah. I've tried to fix my terminology because like, I've been buying a lot of records, AKA vinyl. Mm. So I don't want to say I buy records because then they're like, what, a home run record? I try to say album, but then you can't say album because it could mean photo album but if you say vinyl, then
people know it's a full bodysuit.
Yeah. Son of a bitch! You just threw a whole fucking monkey wrench in there.
There you go. That's what I got. I got a whole barrel of them here. Wrenches, not monkeys. Barrel of monkeys. So, but no, I think when as time goes on, people just adapt. So there's this thought process of like, well, how can we all become cord cutters? How can we all go to just streaming? Well, it's like, remember when there was no such thing as cable? I grew up without cable.
Oh, same here.
And like my kids today, man, they don't understand. So we because we have the construction going on upstairs, we brought a TV from an old TV that we had in our guest room. We brought it down to the basement. And we've had in the main, our nice smart TV in the family room where they go on and they watch their Disney Plus. And they have that. Well, they don't have that in the basement here. And they couldn't understand. Because we were just like, you'll be fine. We have cable. You can turn on the Disney Junior or something, and watch your shows. But no, they're like, well, we want to watch this. We want to watch this. Can you put Disney Plus on? We're like, we can't do Disney Plus on here. And they're like looking at us like we're just lying to them and like won't let them have it. And
I would go, here's the remote. You figure it out.
Yeah. And you know what? And
just like
could.
Just like I, as a kid, had to figure out how to watch wrestling in the day of, where you had to go in a newspaper and look up a time and a listing and all that stuff. It's like,
it's funny though, but like these kids, like I may have mentioned this on the show once before, but like they got into He-Man, watching He-Man because I found it for them. I'm like, I loved He-Man as a kid. Let's see, if they'll get into it. And like I told my kids at one point, they're like, oh, you want to watch more? I'm like, do you understand? You have watched in just the last like 2 weeks more He-Man than I watched in my entire life. And they're like, what? And I'm like, because you finish an episode, you go, can I watch another one? That didn't happen back in the day for me.
Right.
He-Man came on. And guess what? If I happened to have been somewhere else when He-Man came on, I didn't see He-Man that week. So, it's and when He-Man was over, I saw He-Man the following week. That's when I saw it again, but little things like, oh, can you take that? Can you play that song again in the car? Like, can you play that song again? It's like, dude, like we used to have to rewind. If I liked a song a lot, if I made like a little like mixtape for myself, I would record the song like 3 times in a row. Just so because if I knew I was going to want to listen to it multiple times, so I wouldn't have to keep rewinding. I knew I had like a 3-song block that I could listen to the same song. But, I've always loved, and you more so than me a little bit, and this is not a joke, but because you're 10 years older, you know, you were still young enough to be appreciating like the change in technology and using it at the same time. You know, it's not like you were like, you know, in your 40s when, you know, AOL first came out or something, you know? So, but for me, like I've always looked at like my age range to your age range. Like we grew up alongside technology. Like kids today are growing up with technology. They already have it. But we grew up alongside it. Like I had a TV that didn't have color in my house at one point. I had a TV that had the knobs on it.
Yeah.
I remember when my dad loved, he loved technology and getting like, you know, video cameras and all. And I remember our video camera was plugged into a giant, like pretty much like a VCR. And like it was plugged in and the tape didn't go in the camera. The tape went into this thing. And it was this like massive contraption to be able to like film the, like, and now we're running around. My kids are like grabbing my phone. Like, hey, can I take a video with it? Like it's incredible.
When I was a kid, we had, when I was a kid, we had a TV on top of a TV that died. You know, you'd have that big piece of furniture, big TV on the floor. And then
the built-in furniture TV. Yeah, that's like.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's like people turn them into fish tanks now and shit like that. Yeah. We'd buy a new TV. You're like, oh, well, fuck it. Well, instead of buying the stand, put it on the old TV.
My dad had a little kit that I have it in my closet. He built these little, I mean, I'm talking little, like, I don't know, maybe like, God, I don't know, like 12 inches by 12 inches or something, like, you know. But they were little TVs. It was a kit that you got at probably at like Radio Shack or Channel or one of those places back in the day. And he built that. And that's what we had when we upgraded to having a TV in our kitchen. It was this tiny little thing that had the antennas that went up top and stuff. There was no cable you could connect to it or anything. And that TV is where I first saw the report of Bret Hart winning the WWF championship from Ric Flair. And I guess whether it was Superstars or Challenge or something when they reported it. Like I watched that on that TV. I remember watching the debut of the New Adventures of He-Man on that TV and remembering the first time I'd ever been disappointed in something. But yeah, so it's shout out to my dad. My dad actually, he passed away 7 years ago today as we're recording.
Oh, wow.
And so it's just it's funny that it popped into my head some of the things that he had done, but
that's awesome. Yeah, man. You talk about having certain memories, and you just jarred a memory. Like I learned, like when Bob Backlund, you know, like I'm old enough to remember that when Bob Backlund lost the WWF title, it was such a big deal that the local Channel 3 Sports here in Philadelphia, like broke it right after it happened. Yeah, it was Channel 3. It might have been it was like a weeknight, and Howard Eskin, who is a legend here in Philadelphia, who worked on 610 WIP, now 94 WIP. At the time, he was. This was when Channel 3 was NBC and not CBS.
Okay,
that's how far I'm going back. Like he came through to do the local sports, and he goes, and also in Madison Square Garden tonight, and they showed the footage of like,
wow,
you know, Iron Sheik, you know, beating Backlund for the belt. Like that blew my mind.
That's
crazy. It's like right up there. So it was right up there when like Bobby Heenan took out the NWA big gold belt on WWF TV for the first time. I was just like, what? You know, and like, you know, I was like Joaquin Phoenix in Signs when he, you know, the alien pops up and he backs up from the TV. I'm like, what? You know, because we didn't have the internet back then, you know, and you know, just to, you know, have wrestling news broken in on like a mainstream news channel by Howard Eskin. And Howard Eskin was always wrestling friendly, but that blew my mind, you know. I remember seeing that for the first time.
I wish, like, I don't know. I go back and forth so much with this. Like, I hate how readily available everything is now. Yet I love it at the same time. Yeah. You know, I look at things like, okay, so we're in a pandemic right now. Forgetting the fact that obviously if we didn't have this technology, we couldn't even be doing a podcast. But, you know, without social media, because I, as a whole, I hate social media. I think it has ruined our world. And I think it's terrible. It gave a voice to people who should have always remained voiceless. And I think it's terrible. Having said that, during a pandemic, when we weren't going anywhere, you remove social media from the mix, and how on earth does anyone know about our podcast? Right. Like, you know, how does anyone know about my show on FITE? Like, how does, you know, and then you talk about, you know, going in person to these conventions and stuff. Well, social media is how I bet 99% of these people are finding out that there's, you know, maybe the occasional person saw a flyer in the coffee shop near where the event's going to be, but everybody else finds out on social media, which is how people are able to continue to make a living in the wrestling business. You know, it's So in some regards, I absolutely love it. And this isn't like fair to say, but in a way, I almost wish there was like a social media that, like, I don't know. It's not, you can't just be like a social media where only like celebrities can use it. Cause I think that's the media, but, yeah, I don't know. There's so much people post like great news about something, and there's going to be someone taking a shit on it in the comments. And it's just, it is impossible to escape the negative. And I hate that because I'm somebody who will get bogged down by that. And I don't want to. I want to have nothing to do with negativity, but it'll sit with me and fester, and I'll get furious about some mark on a comment here. I'm getting hot, but well, that was me with the Peacock announcement. Mm-hmm. And then that was me yesterday. The Eagles rolled out their new coach in a press conference, and like, he wasn't the best. It wasn't the best press conference. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He kind of rambled for a little bit, but I'm sitting there as somebody I've spoken in front of people for a living, and I've performed in front of 40,000 people. I've performed in front of 4 people, and guess when I was the most nervous? In front of 4 people. Yeah. And this guy had to do a press conference in an auditorium. A press conference in an empty auditorium to a camera with faceless people on the other side judging him. And, was it the most eloquent of press conferences? No. But Jesus Christ, you give the guy a fucking break. I'm talking about Nick Sirianni, our new Eagles' new head coach. Mm-hmm. So every time I hear his name, I hear Nick Sirianni. I'm expecting to hear a beep beep, like, "Hey Siri," beep beep. But yesterday, my whole mood was just fucking furious. Yeah. At like the reaction to it. I was like, "You motherfuckers, you go out there and talk in a full auditorium. Well, not a full. Go talk to an auditorium that's completely empty. It's just your voice that you're hearing back at you. And like when you're talking to somebody, you can at least have the courtesy, like if you're doing a press conference talking in front, you can like look at people and make a connection and stuff like that. He's looking at empty fucking seats. Yeah. Here I'm doing this podcast with you. I'm looking at you on the camera, Yeah. Even though I'm alone in my room, I'm talking to you. Yeah, like we don't feel alone. We feel like we're having a conversation, and then we got our pod squad here that we know. It took us a while to like be able to connect that in our minds that people are actually watching us live. But and still, now that I'm saying it out loud, I'm reminded of it, and it's weird. But no, I agree completely with what you're saying. There's, as far as like public speaking, because I've done a lot of public speaking before, and I agree completely with you. Now, I never performed in front of 40,000 people. Definitely performed in front of 4.
Well, that was a one-time deal.
That's fine. Where was that?
Humble brag at the Toronto Sky Dome.
Oh, but to me, I agree. Like we've talked about before, like we we hope to one day, whether it's like a Starcast or something like that, be able to do a stage show for Mind of the Meanie.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't happen, it's nobody's fault. It's just, it's a goal that we have. But to me, I would be more comfortable if it was a sold out, hanging from the rafters, jam-packed room. If we were doing a live stage show in front of 50,000 people or a live stage show in front of 15, I would be more nervous in front of the 15.
Yeah.
Because 50,000 people basically just almost, this sounds wrong, but they almost like disappear. Like you don't see them as individual people in that same regard. And then you can pull the occasional person like in the front row, you can pull them in with you because you're still surrounded by this overwhelming mass of humanity, which I don't know when we're ever going to be able to have an overwhelming mass of humanity again. But
yeah, and like you say, you're in front of 15 people. If 2 people in that audience are having a conversation with each other, you fucking hear it.
Oh, yeah.
And that just throws you off your fucking game, and you're just like, Jesus Christ, I can hear you. This isn't TV. I can hear you.
I used to have that when I would do like gigs and stuff. I'd go to like when I'd play music. I would go to, there'd be some places where it was like a really great turnout and really good, and then there's some places where it's not that it wasn't a good turnout, but your job was to just kind of play music almost as like background music. But you've got, you're in like a club and you've got a bunch of people who are sitting there watching and enjoying it as a show. And then there are people doing nothing wrong, sitting and having conversations. Well, they're sitting having conversations, but there's live music's going. So what are they doing? They're yelling over the live music to have a conversation with each other. And you're sitting there trying to play music, and that's all you're hearing is their conversation. It's, So, I mean, cut the guy a fucking break.
Yeah, dude, I was so fucking angry about that. And
also, I don't give a shit if he's a good public speaker. I don't care.
Right.
I'm looking for a guy who's, I would love him to be a good football coach.
Yeah.
That's something I have high hopes for, But
yeah, and from all accounts, like, when he was first hired, WIP did the whole thing where they interviewed people who knew him from his childhood all the way up. And all his former players are like, yeah, he's the real deal. He's great.
Yeah.
It reminded me of, we're getting back into Philly sports when Charlie Manuel was first hired for the Phillies. He got slaughtered because they said he was a dumb fucking, because like he wasn't the most eloquent speaker, but they're like, oh, look at this idiot, blah, blah, blah. He couldn't even get through a press. Yeah, he got us a World Series, so shut the fuck up. Yeah. And then once he won the World Series, everybody, oh, good old Charlie.
Yeah, I
love it, Charlie. Yeah. But that you're talking about the best and worst of social media. It's just like, I just want to fucking just like wish you could turn. I wish I didn't have to rely on it. Yeah. But it's a good way to keep in touch with people.
Well, that's
a good
the
way
thing.
to communicate.
But we've been lucky enough that we've been able to, start this Patreon group, and I would love to get to a point where we don't really have to interact outside of, our little, like, I know that's not fair. We can't ask all of our listeners to just join Patreon.
Right.
Pay us money so we don't have to deal with social media. But it would be nice when the time comes where we can just talk to like-minded people and not deal with all the noise on the outside of it.
Yeah.
But,
Well, thank God Twitter has like a quality filter.
Yeah.
Where you can like kind of ease out the shitheads,
Yeah.
It's always those people who make they don't have a profile photo. It's just an egg,
Yeah.
And they're shitting on you.
eggs.
You're like, oh, which one of this is my former coworkers that just made an account just to fucking break my balls? But these people are fucking probably somebody in the business is breaking your balls. But like if they saw you in person, they go, oh, Meanie, good to see you, brother. So meanwhile, they're like, let me make this account so I can call Meanie a fatso or whatever,
So this morning I was reading something. Our mutual friend Kevin Matthews, character and a half, that gentleman.
Yes,
but so Kevin made a comment on, there was like a video of Kenny Omega. It was like slow motion. Kenny Omega running across the ring, about halfway point across the ring, does like a just flying knee to his opponent. And this is back in New Japan. And the comment was basically like how like incredible, Kevin was putting it over. Like, dude, that's incredible. So of course someone comments like, who can't jump from the middle of the ring to another? It's an 18 by 18 ring, so you're jumping like 9 feet or whatever. So, all right. Number one, the first thought of it, which Kevin said was, it's a 20 by 20 because it's New Japan. But regardless, so let's say he's jumping 10 feet, right? But he was at the height of his jump at the 10-foot mark, which means that was more or less going to land at a 20-foot mark. So incredibly athletic. But then this is where it really gets interesting, because a fan comments agreeing with how impressive it is and goes, yeah, it's extra impressive because the dude's only like 5'7". So Kevin Matthews goes, Kenny Omega is 6 foot. He's not 5'7".
Yeah.
So the guy responds, there's no way he's 6 foot. So then Kevin, who's been super close friends with Kenny since I think it was like 2006 or something.
Deep South Wrestling.
Yeah. So he's like, yeah, you know what? You're right. I don't know, whatever, And then they claim that, that Kevin Matthews was not 6'5" and all that. So I was like, if I can weigh in just for a minute. So I weighed in just to have a little fun with Kevin. So I weighed in with a picture of me and Kenny Omega. I said, I'm 5'8". I would say he's 6 foot because he's, a good few inches taller than me. You can clearly see he's taller than me in the picture.
Yeah.
I said, however, Kevin is actually only 5'10" and a half. He just uses mirrors. But it was so ridiculous because even the guy who wasn't being negative on the original post and was impressed and was so impressed made a statement that he's 5'7". Why?
Right.
Like, look, I get it. I get Shawn Michaels is 6'1", more like 5'10". Like, I understand. Like, that's the wrestling business. So you're all of a sudden going to assume they say he's 6 feet tall. He's whatever. Like the
padded stats.
Yeah, like Adam Cole. There's that picture of Adam Cole and Zack Sabre Jr. And they're both billed at the same height. And Zack Sabre Jr. is like a good 4 or 5 inches taller than him in the photo. So that happens. I totally get that. But, I mean, come on. Like, these people are just getting in arguments for no reason. Like, and the one thing I would say to Kevin is just like, dude, like, don't engage. Just don't engage in it. It's just, who cares? Whatever. This guy thinks he's right. It doesn't matter. I engaged because I just wanted to have fun with Kevin. But, it to me was like, what are you doing? Like, I don't know.
It could be infuriating. In the early days of the internet, before pre-social media, when it was just like message boards, I would find myself getting into arguments, and like a good 5 hours go by, and I go, man, that was 5 hours I'll never get back. And it's like even like the slightest thing, and before there was a word for it called trolling. If you get caught up and you get worked up into a lather, just over something that means nothing really in the long haul.
Like now there's this new. So I just saw, because I just got a notification from our good friend gimmick attorney Mike Dawkins.
Nice.
Great dude. Has a great show on adfreeshows.com.
Absolutely.
Really interesting. That all wrestling fans who want to believe they're in the know, myself included, I'm not, putting myself above that. I love to feel like I know what's going on in the business. Well, he breaks down the business end of things, the talks copyright law and stuff. And that's where I brought him in, because Extreme Championship Wrestling at the official ECW, great news for everybody. They're breaking news to all 647 of their followers, is that ECW will be making its return for the first time since 2001 and will include a 3-hour special live on social media. More details will be out soon. They have also claimed that it will be in Albany, New York in the second quarter of 2022. and that this is not related to the WWE's ECW, but it's the real ECW. So I tagged our good friend Mike Dawkins, and I told him, I said, quote, "I'm no gentleman of the law, but I'm pretty sure this is not how copyrights work." And he wrote, "Joker's joking. I highly doubt WWE has licensed their trademark out for a rival promotion. They only, quote, license internally to, quote, rival promotions." So,
I wonder if this is the same people who are trying to say WCW was coming back.
Yeah.
And,
I'm sure it's exactly the same people. And it's like, and you look at that, but here's the thing. People believe it. They're, I'm mocking the 600-something followers because the real ECW wouldn't have 600 followers. Jon Stewart is up to like 100,000. He joined yesterday. So, which, by the way, follow Jon Stewart on Twitter if you haven't yet. The dude is
friend of the business.
What's that?
Friend of the business. He's
oh God, yeah. Yeah, he's done run-ins.
Well, dude, he was on Rogan one time, and during the pandemic, and then in the background there was a chalkboard in the background. I guess he was in the kids' room or whatever, and they were like drawing like WrestleMania. They're like his kids drew something about WrestleMania on there or something like that. No, and he didn't even bother to erase it for Rogan. He just left it up.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the real question here is, you're not having the ECW without the Blue Meanie. So, Meanie, are you signed on for the new ECW?
Kayfabe, brother.
There you go. Anyway.
There's just a noise outside my fucking house. I'm trying to figure out what it was. I was like, my house isn't exploding, is it? No.
Man, that would be unfortunate. Hey, there was a massive fire the other day. It was it was like a mulch fire or something, like at like a farm down about 15 minutes from where I live.
Yeah.
I'm driving down the street, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, why is it all foggy? And then I drove I actually, from being in my car, I smelled like I had been at a campfire. Wow. It was, the wind took it, and it had apparently been burning since like 3 a.m. And it was, man, it was brutal. It's like going through a cloud.
That's insane. Yeah, it's crazy. Like there's certain things in South Philly. Like I live down the street from not down the street, but there's like this chemical plant in South Philly. And sometimes you smell something weird at night, and you're like, oh, we're downwind from the factory. Or pew, what's that smell? Oh, it's New Jersey.
We used to go when I'd train up before a match. I would go up to the dungeon, the Mest Brothers dungeon, and it's usually when I would just do some training like in between matches and stuff. When I was doing the indies, and I wasn't working every weekend, so you need to keep sharp. And we'd go there, and I want to say I can never remember if they were in Blandon or not, or if they lived in Blandon, but I don't remember where it was. But either way, they were right by from what we were told, right by a mushroom plant. It smelled like shit. It was horrible. But I think, we've talked about Mark Mest before, right?
Yeah. Good dude.
Yeah. He's the Mest.
You can't figure you figure a town named Blandon can't be that exciting. It's like very bland.
Where's the we gotta find it here. Where is it? Here it is. Have that ready.
It's funny, you talk about like before social media, everything like that. Yeah. Right now, what you and I are doing would be considered pirate radio, like back in the day. Yeah. Like before like the internet and all that stuff, like people would do like radio shows. And I guess because it was over the air, it was illegal and against FCC regulation. Yeah. But like all this stuff that people used to get in trouble for and get arrested for doing pirate radio, now all you need is just an internet connection, and you could just do it and not get in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, we're posting this here. We don't even need to. Let's I mean, you could literally do these things for free without even having to pay for a podcast platform. We could go directly to YouTube if we wanted to.
Yeah.
You can go directly to Facebook, and
Right.
We won't. But,
one of my favorite movies was a movie with Christian Slater called Pump Up the Volume, and he's like this pirate radio host talking about everything, breaking kayfabe where everything's going on at his high school, and they're trying to find him, and they got the FCC, trucks trying to track down his signal and all that stuff. I was like, well, shit, 20 years later, he could have just done it. He could have just had a podcast,
and made millions of dollars.
Yeah. That's basically what we're doing.
Like you and I.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
By the way, if you'd like to sponsor Mind of the Meanie, send your emails to mindofthemeanie@gmail.com. No, we're doing great. I noticed you guys have an ad at the start of this is from Travis. Ad at the start of Front Row Material with Mikey Whipwreck and Jerry Lynn. Yeah, we do. We appreciate them very much. They are neighbors of ours over on the MLW Radio Network.
Yes.
Also, while I've never actually met Mikey, Jerry Lynn has become a friend. And obviously Meanie knows both of them very well.
Yes.
And they're I guess host or co-host. I don't know how you'd put it. I don't know what he.
Well, I guess they're all co-hosts.
Yeah, I know
hosting together. Yeah.
I got creative in here that I'm your tour guide into your mind. None of us are hosting anything. I'm just guiding people through the weeds.
We're just fucking babbling.
But I've always but they're great. Yeah, check them out for sure. They're awesome and have always been very supportive of our show. We appreciate it very much.
Yeah, I've made a few appearances on there.
Yeah,
but then it's like as you go start doing your own podcast, we got like 3 podcasts. Well, I got 3. You got the 2 podcasts, but you also got So Says Shernoff on YouTube. I got the Eagles podcast. Then me and you have Mind of the Meanie. That was extreme. You have Mind of the Meanie. That was extreme. And So Says Shernoff on YouTube. And then it's the point where like somebody asks you, "Hey, you want to come on my podcast?" And you're like, "Man, do I have time?" I'm caught up in my own little world over here.
Yeah,
and
it's
trying to get this gimmick rolling.
It's tough.
It is.
Like I got the message from the dude I've been talking about for months, doing something with a pay-per-view, like a prediction, like a pre-show prediction thing or something like that. And it's just from a scheduling standpoint, it's been brutal. And then there have been times where he's like, "Oh, you want to do a post show?" And we've been lucky enough that now we're working with FITE TV for alternative commentary. Yeah. And I have no energy when that show goes off the air to go hop on a post show for somebody else. And and I never want to be like a jerk about it. I just, it's like you said, we're building something now. So we've got, how many shows do you say you have?
3.
So
one's on hiatus now with the Eagles recap show.
So
Meanie's Bird recap.
Well, I've got my On the Ropes, which is on hiatus because even though I still have some I haven't aired yet because I don't have the second part of it with like the unknown talent. So I really gotta get some interviews.
Yeah. But you gotta find a balance.
Yeah.
Between, yes, I want to do these shows, but yes, I also want to promote these shows. But I don't want to spread myself too thin.
Yeah.
Because you also got to balance regular everyday family life. Too,
Yeah. I mean, we've got just you and I together have 3. Do we have 3 shows? Yeah. You said that you have 3, but you actually have more because we have alternative commentary.
Yeah, that too.
Meanie.
Yeah.
We have That Was Extreme with Joel Gertner, which what is today when people are listening to this? Is it the 1st? Yes. Go right now over to adfreeshows.com. Episode 2 of That Was Extreme is available right now over on adfreeshows.com. Unless you're listening to this like right at 6 a.m. when our show drops, and then you might have to wait a couple of hours. But yeah, it was a great show. Referee Jim Molyneux joined us. And then if you sign up to, I don't know if it's Top Guys or a couple other ones, but if you sign up to ad-free shows, you'll be able to pop in for a little Q&A with us tonight, February 1st.
Yes. February 1st.
Travis says, can't wait for That Was Extreme episode 2. Episode 1 was incredible. You guys with Gertner are such a great combo. Jim Molyneux is my blue oyster cult homeboy. All right.
Yeah, Molyneux's definitely got some strong music knowledge. You know, I'm glad we got him on, even though, you know, it was like last minute, you know. But the thing is, like, you know, I wasn't a wrestler yet. I wasn't in the company. Joel wasn't in the company. And we're reviewing a show, and, you know, we figured let's have some, I mean, even though we eventually went on to work with plenty of the talent that was on the show. It was also good to have, you know, Jim come on towards the end and give us, you know, a feeling of like the atmosphere and everything like that.
But it's a great, I mean, it's a great listen, I think, and watch. You can watch it as well.
Yeah,
I think people.
I'm really happy with it. I'm really happy with it. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. Because,
yeah, me too.
Yeah, the first one, Barely Legal, is something, you know, I've talked about, you know, at length countless times. But you know, we did the night the line was crossed for Eastern Championship Wrestling, and it was nice to have a fan perspective and also give the perspective of you know a future worker, you know, and how I felt, you know, then, and reflecting back on it now, because, you know, I hadn't watched that show in a while. So for That Was Extreme, I went and watched the show leading up to that, the night the line was crossed. I watched the night the line was crossed, and then I watched the Fallout show. Yeah, which really wasn't much of a Fallout show, but they had recaps and stuff like that, and post you know, that post show promos on the TV the following week. Yeah, you know, and that was really cool.
Yeah,
to,
it was
go
neat.
back and watch
it was
that
neat to see the old stuff like that, you know,
with new eyes. Yeah. Watch it, you know.
Yep. So definitely go check that out. That was a blast to do. We'll continue to do that. We have that great graphic now, which they actually asked for to use for I think for the audio feed.
Nice.
Which is really cool. And so yes, I actually have to get that over to them today. But Slichter just killed it.
Yes, he did.
And such a good job.
As always. But yeah, it's definitely cool to be a part of the ad-free show family. They got some other cool stuff that's coming over. Like you interviewed Ian Riccaboni, and Ian and Carrie Silkins doing a show on wrestling posters.
Yep. Yeah, Ian talks all about that on So Says Shernoff. Check that out on FITE or at youtube.com/So Says Shernoff.
Yeah, man. Besides being a melt mark, you know, wrestling posters are another form of artwork that, you know, it's kind of a lost art, you know, now with the social media age and the internet and stuff like that. You know, back in the day, you go to or if you're just running an event, you're trying to, you know, get the word out. You know, when I was doing the promotion 3PW, you know, I would plaster South Philly with, you know, foam poles and with posters, and I'd go into every little mom and pop shop that would let me put flyers out and stuff like that, where you're putting flyers out at strip clubs because you're like, yeah, wrestling fans are perverts too. So, you know,
they love a good pair of breasts.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was always, you know, pounding the payments, and, you know, Carrie's doing the show with the wrestling posters, which it's a form of lost art in a way. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
But, definitely check that out over at Ad Free Shows. Thank you to Ad Free Shows for having us for another edition of That Was Extreme.
Yeah, it's gonna It's going to be a lot of fun. I think people are going to like this one, and who knows what we'll do? Maybe we'll do a dive into like a little character episode next month. Maybe we'll do something like that. Put up a few options of some of the more iconic ECW members, and just kind of take a stroll through their career.
Absolutely.
I do want to say, as far as youtube.com/So Says Shernoff, as we record this, I have 999 subscribers. If you're on Patreon and you're listening to this right now or watching this and you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, be a doll and and help me get to 1,000. I'm going to give you all a behind the scenes look at how I do the show. Once that happens, I'm going to start working on that, including some clips from back when I did it at the studio, and it was far more interesting. But I also think that'll be kind of neat to show the behind the scenes of how the show used to be versus behind the scenes of how I do the show now. Yeah, please. And also go to youtube.com/Mind of the Meanie. We are, right now, we are at 1,070 subscribers.
Nice.
Which we're really happy with. We are going to, at some point in February, get something going with the gentleman from Wildcat Belts. We'll schedule that in February.
He's on board.
Yep. So we just have to schedule it and do that as a little bonus gimmick there. And I'm hoping that it will, that'll really bring some eyeballs to the podcast. Very excited to do that. What else, Meanie? What else is going on? What else is on your mind today?
Besides trying to stay warm, just basically everything we've talked about, man. It's just been an interesting week with WWE going with the Peacock Network, which is kind of something they teased along the way. Like Vince said something casually in a conference call, like almost maybe a year back, and people are like trying to figure, is it going to be ESPN and all that stuff? But no, it's NBC, which they've had a long story. Yeah, they've had a long. Never mind. They've had a long story, long working relationship. That's the term I was looking for. Working relationship with NBC, all going all the way back to Saturday night's main event. And then, them helping to promote, produce some of the early WrestleManias and stuff like that. So, just, everything's interesting with that. As far as me, just trying to stay busy, with everything that's going on with the pandemic and, trying to think of new ways to keep the show fresh and exciting and just trying to promote it.
Yeah. And we could use it. If you're listening to this, we could use your help. Hey, Travis says, So Says Shernoff is officially at 1,000. Thank you, sir.
Ta-da.
Appreciate it. Why'd it take you so long? No, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Oh, that's exciting.
Oh, dude, friend of the show, RJ City, speaking of YouTube, has a mini documentary on YouTube through the FITE Network, not to be confused with FITE TV, but FITE Network through Canada. And me and Mrs. Meanie just watched that the other night, and that was really fun. And it's basically just like they went to do a documentary on him, but everything shut down. So basically it was just like a mini one-man show where he just, talks to the camera and, talks about his career and different stuff like that. And as always, RJ City is entertaining. Even on Sunday mornings when I could probably use the extra sleep, I make sure I get up a little bit early to watch. RJ City makes coffee in his underwear and stuff like that, and it's always a good time because it's interactive. Like us with our Pod Squad.
Yes.
Every now and then, I'll pop in. David Arquette will pop in. Matt Camp from the Bump will pop in, and we're all intermingling and having fun and interacting. so to speak. And actually, speaking of YouTube, right now there's a 24-hour wrestling show that's been happening since 8 o'clock last night.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be done by the time people are hearing that, unless you're on Patreon. But I believe you'll be able to go back and watch it and still donate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us.
Game Changer Wrestling, GCW, who is a promotion that's really doing some good stuff. They have a sort of like an ECW spirit where they're word of mouth, and they're. Look, I ran a wrestling promotion called 3PW, and it was hard enough running Philly, but these guys are running all over the country. They've done shows in Japan, all Indiana, all over the place. And I'm just astounded that at how hard they're working. But right now they're doing a 24-hour wrestling show called Fight Forever. It's on YouTube, on their official YouTube, for absolutely free. But what they're doing is they're trying to raise money for independent wrestlers affected by the pandemic.
Yeah.
So if you're watching right now, in the Pod Squad, when we're or you can watch it side by side or whatever. I was watching a little bit this morning, but yeah, they're actually the show's happening in Philly today too. So which is kind of weird because I don't know where they're.
Yeah, just go.
I know,
go if you want to go. If you want to go, just go. It's fine. I'll finish the show.
I'm good.
No, they're actually they are being. I believe they're being filmed. I should over at Go Pro Wrestling.
I should say I don't want to be rude. I know I said no, I'm good in the way of no, I don't want to. That could be taken the wrong way.
I got what you're saying. Yeah, you didn't mean no, I'm good. I'm not checking out that shit. You meant no, I'm good. It's freezing cold in a pandemic. I think I'll stay home.
And I would like to be vaccinated before I do
yes.
any other thing. But
yeah, and there's also a lot of blood there. You want to get vaccinated for a lot of shit before you go to a GCW show.
Yeah, they're a tad violent.
But I think the good people over at GoPro Wrestling are filming everything over there.
Yeah, they're
recording, I should say, not filming.
Yeah, their production's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
Dude, back in my day, it was just like you recorded a show on one VHS camcorder.
Yep.
And hopefully somebody would buy one copy, but they got a 3-camera, 4-camera shoot airing live right now on YouTube, and it's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
I think they're also on FITE, I believe too. I think they're.
Oh, if they are, then yeah,
they're also on FITE as well.
Our good friends at FITE, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just kicked off. Speaking of FITE, just kicked off season 3 of So Says Shernoff.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I have a great continued relationship with FITE, and you and I want to do a hard sell on this for the show that comes out on Monday. You and I will be live yesterday night. Alternative commentary on FITE.
We're always on time with these fucking.
Yes, I think we put it over last week as well as the go home show. But yeah, no. As we're recording this, it's the day before, so I'm very excited for that alternative commentary. It's fun for me, the Royal Rumble especially is a time that Royal Rumble and WrestleMania were the shows that I always was getting together with friends to watch.
Yeah.
So it's nice. I'm going to be able to be with you, Meanie, and hopefully a number of members of our pod squad will be there in the chat, and we'll all just be hanging out, having a good time.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that. The Rumble should be interesting,
as always.
Yeah. I was wondering. I'm kind of hoping, and I mean, we all know by now, by the time you're listening to this on Monday, whether or not it happened. But I was kind of like. I was like, I wonder if they'll do something since they're technically in this gigantic stadium, even though it looks like a little arena. I was like, maybe they'll do something where they'll even if they just extend a little bit to make it look a little bit bigger or something, for the Rumble. I don't know. I doubt they will.
A little bit more grander.
Yeah, I doubt they will. But either way, it'll be fun.
The crazy thing of it is that even though they've moved locations, you can't really tell,
No,
it's basically the same setup, which, kind kind of a shame. You take advantage of all that space.
Yeah, it's weird.
But this will be our fourth of the big four pay-per-views.
Is that right? We did SummerSlam. We did Survivor Series. We haven't done WrestleMania.
We haven't?
We didn't do WrestleMania.
You sure?
We started right before SummerSlam. We started with
I'm
sorry. We started with SummerSlam, and then we did AEW right after.
That's right.
Yeah, we started with SummerSlam. So we haven't hit WrestleMania yet, but I'd like to think we'll be doing that. I'd like to think.
I as well.
Yes. No, I think it's I think it's safe to say we'll be watching WrestleMania. Does that mean 2 nights of alternative commentary?
Looks to be.
All right.
Looks to be that way.
All right. Sounds good. So we'll be doing that. There's going to be some long shows. I wonder if I need to get a new chair.
Yeah, I'm in that predicament right now too, because when I was like, oh, I got the Meanie Studios, and it'll be pretty cool. I could do mine and Meanie sitting in this Philadelphia Spectrum chair.
Yeah.
And I noticed, doing, said show in a Spectrum chair for 3 hours. It's kind of takes its toll.
It's a lot.
Because these aren't the most comfortable of seats. Yeah. They are for the first maybe hour. But then again, you go to back in the day, you go to a concert at Spectrum, you're standing up, you're not sitting in these chairs. So, but yeah, I'm me and Mrs. Meanie are in the market trying to find a new chair. Like
I have a couch right over like in front of me, and I'm almost wondering if when it comes time for like a WrestleMania one, I might shift my studio around and just sit on the couch.
Well, the early days of mine and the Meanie and alternative commentary, I was doing it in my living room, sitting on the couch.
Yeah.
And now I've moved, and now I got this office, the studio.
And I got to figure something. I can't watch WrestleMania on my laptop screen.
Nah.
Like, I got to figure something out. And I want to watch WrestleMania. I want to be able to, I might bring a TV in. Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to do that. But
hook it up to a Roku.
Yeah, I might have to do something like that, but we'll see. Hey, you want to ask Meanie anything?
Yes, dear.
All right, well, you can ask Meanie on your own time because it's you. See what I did? But yeah, no, I think at this point, why don't we go ask Meanie, see what the good people on the Twitter have to say.
I invite it. It's time to ask Meanie anything. Ask me something.
Little extended
remix.
All right, so
I need to hook up the fart mic.
Yeah, you do. You've been saying that for a long time.
I've been teasing
it. Johnny Rassel at Johnny Rassel asks, if you got the chance to manage anyone in today's wrestling scene, who would it be?
Ooh,
great question.
Yeah, it is. And that's the thing. Most of my career, I've been a tag team wrestler and kind of been a manager when it came to managing, being in the corner for Raven and stuff like that, or Stevie. So I kind of have that, experience of being a corner person, manager extraordinaire. Dude, I would love to do something with Danhausen. Not sure if he needs my help. He seems to be doing fine on his own.
Yeah.
Talking about somebody who's been a winner, him and RJ City have won the apocalypse as far as social media.
Yes.
And stuff like that. Danhausen, with his social media, and he's in Hot Topic of all places. He's got shirts in Hot Topic. RJ City, he's always on the bump. He's doing all this cool stuff. But if I could manage anybody, I would love to be in the corner of, or just do something with Danhausen. That'd be a lot of fun.
Maybe he can get you a job back over at Ringhausen, and
he could talk to Dave Honor.
Yeah.
His feed is so much fun because, like, you know, some wrestler will post that they just had a match or whatever, and he'll just do the yell, "Did you win?" Which, if you're a professional wrestler, you know that's the worst fucking question that any family member or friend can ask you. Like, you know, my early career, you know, I did a lot of jobs. So, like, I'm doing all these shows, and I would come home from a loop or whatever, and my grandma would be like, or my mom would be like, "Oh, how'd the show go? Good. Did you win?" And,
I got paid.
yeah.
That's what winning is in pro wrestling.
Yeah,
especially on the indies. When you left and you got paid what you were promised, you won.
In cash.
Yes.
You know, when they start writing checks, you're like, I don't know.
No,
but
I'm gonna get you. I'll get you on the. Hey, don't worry. I'm gonna get you on the PayPal.
Dude, I did this one show.
I don't know whose voice I was doing there, but it may have literally been somebody I worked with before.
I did you know, I went back to WWE and wrestled Bradshaw on SmackDown. Mm-hmm. Then that weekend I had a show in Delaware in a nightclub in the basement of a night, like it felt like in Delaware. And whoever promoted, yeah. Hi, we're in Delaware. Delaware is like the speed bump between, you know, Pennsylvania and Maryland. You know, you have to go over it just to get to the cool shit. Yeah, we're in this nightclub in Delaware, and it's just the wrestlers and the wait staff. And they had the pre-show meeting, and the promoter's like, "But guys, we're going to sell DVDs, and then we'll pay you." It's like, I've heard this before.
Because if there's one thing people want, it's a DVD of a show with no audience that no one wanted to come to live.
Without a pandemic.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't have the excuse of, well, it's a pandemic, we're having a show, and there's no audience. You know, those shows we call, somebody pulled a fire alarm, you know, somebody calling a bomb scare, you know.
Your license plate is blocking the door.
Yeah. I got to find that show and put it up on our Patreon.
James Sorensen writes,
yes.
If you
Hello, James.
I'll drag it on here. If you were to tag with each other for one night, what entrance theme would you use, and what would your tag team name be?
You and I?
Yeah. So there's the one part of me. I mean, I use my old entrance music is what I use for So Says Shernoff, little peek behind the curtain.
Okay.
But I'm not the star. I'm the Janetti in this team. So in the sense that I'm making up a story about killing somebody many years ago. I mean, here's the thing, though. Common sense would say, well, what are you going to come out to? Will you come out to the Mind of the Meanie theme? Except that's the BWO theme.
Yes.
So it's like, am I just coming out with you to the BWO theme? I think that's probably appropriate if we're teaming together.
Yeah.
Although if we're teaming together, that's my last hurrah, in which case maybe I'm going to want my own entrance, brother. What's the pyro situation?
We're on a Gilbert level pyro.
That's what I want. No, I mean, I think to me as a fan, to be able to come to the ring with the Blue Meanie to the BWO theme would be super cool. And as far as the name of our team, Blue Shernoff? No.
That's how I got the podcast.
So Says Blue. I think it would be From the Mind of the Meanie.
Yeah.
The Blue Meanie and Josh Shernoff. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good thing. I was never a fan when like they would could join names for a tag team.
Yeah, I've always hated that, like the Jarrah show and things that like. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
just stop it. So no, we don't.
I hate when they would. I hate when they would like combine the two themes together, like a remix.
Oh God, yeah.
It's like so hard to get excited when you're if you're jamming out to a theme like Stone Cold, you're like bow wow wow, and you're fucking get into it, and if somebody cut it off and somebody mixes up, you're like, wow, what the fuck? There's too much confusion.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, I had kind of a cool intro to my music back in the day, which is not on the So Says Shernoff stuff. I could see that playing and then kicking into the BWO. Yeah. But in this scenario, this is a world where anyone wants to pay money to see me team with you and wrestle. So in that scenario, my music matters to people. But in the reality of it, there's going to be a whole lot of who's Meanie's new manager and why is he wearing tights? So I will say this, though.
You take the heat, I'll get the hot tag.
Yeah, my primary ring gear was always blue, so I think I know what color I'll be wearing. No, that would be fun. I would love to team with you one day. I don't know how on earth that would ever happen, but I would love to team with you one day. Have one last hurrah.
I'm sure we can figure something out.
Yeah, I can hit my 5 moves of doom and just get out. So I don't turn to dust when I take one clothesline and have to be carted out of there.
People ask me what my finisher is, and I just lay on the floor and look at the ceiling.
Yeah. That's the thing. Well, and that's the thing is like, I would assume on our, if we're not going over that I'm teaming with you, I would be the one to do the job. The only thing is then I'm kind of stealing your gimmick. So it's like, am I stealing your finish? In
a world in a like an RJ City world, we would have like a gimmick where we're fighting to lose the match. It's RJ's very surreal and stuff like that. So I can see him booking the show, and us, me and you, just having this shtick where we're trying to see who can lose the match the most.
We have an argument over. We keep breaking up the pins just so the other one can tag out and take the loss.
Yeah. I pull the guy off and pull him onto me. No, I'm taking the pin.
Yep. Oh man, that's fantastic. Hey, maybe one day. I remember a couple of years ago, I saw Rich Swann at MLW, and I was actually he was kind enough. I was his guest to go backstage there, and he was like, I think this was like almost 2 years ago, and so spoiler, it's not happening. But he goes to me, he's like, "We're gonna have one more match." I'm like, "I haven't wrestled in almost 10 years," and he's like, "We're gonna have one more match," because we've talked about before that I was his first singles match. It was my last singles match. And I think what he wanted was, I've gotten so much worse, I'm sure, and he's gotten so much better that things would look a lot better at this go around for him. But he's like, "I'm giving you 2 years, and then you and I are going to have that match." I'm like, "All right, man. All right. Let me tell you something. These 2 years have not been kind to me." But I'll tell you what, I'm going to start training. I'm going to take out my trampoline and my 5-pound weights, and I'm going to start training, because you never know when your next match is. And
gotta be prepared.
Yep, I'm going to start bouncing on that trampoline, waiting to see if I'm booked, Terry. So
not booked, Terry.
Here's a fun question from Travis. Did you have any interaction with Selena Del Laurenta when you showed up in MLW? I think she is one of the best talkers in the business right now. I'm assuming he's talking about you, Meanie, when you were there. I know I was technically there as well. I did not have any interaction with her, so I think he's talking about you.
Fun question, but there wasn't really much interaction. Both the couple times they had me in the Rumble Riot, and then the last time I had a singles match, but and that's what, like right in the beginning of the apocalypse, so nobody was really interacting. Other than hello and goodbye, not really. But she's great. She's great. I wish I had more of an answer, but it's just hello, goodbye.
The truth works too. That's fine. Mark and Dryden at Mark Matsuo writes, who are a couple or few of the underrated good and bad guys in wrestling, past or present?
Underrated?
Yes.
Man.
So just a couple, I guess if we're saying good or bad, I mean, a couple of underrated talents, past and present in wrestling.
There's so many of them, though. I mean, even though you bring up like Jannetty and people shit on Jannetty, like he was underrated because he was in he was in the shadow of Shawn Michaels, really.
I also think he was in the shadow of his own bullshit, because I think the more you hear stories, he was given, when he came back and he won the Intercontinental title from Michaels and, was put into, the dude had all the talent in the world, and that was cut short because of him, because of his personal choices. So,
yeah, everybody talks about how many times Marty was fired, but look at all the times he was rehired too, because they knew he had talent. It's just,
and to me, I'm not saying he would have been Shawn Michaels. I'm not saying he would have reached that height, but I think the reason he didn't reach a higher height is because of his personal demons, as we like to say in the business.
He was definitely underrated baby. Like when he came back, he walked through the crowd with a hoodie on or whatever and surprised Shawn Michaels, and the crowd just went apeshit. Who else was the underrated talent? There's so many different guys. Somebody you don't really talk about much anymore is Buzz Sawyer. He was an amazing talent. I think then again, some people are underrated just, from a time standpoint where, they were big in the territory, like, Buzz Sawyer in UWF. He had an amazing tag team with Rick Steiner that, like, by today's standards, they would be monsters in Japan right now, like a monster tag team in Japan. Eventually Rick went on to be a monster, monster from, being over.
Not
over huge, not size-wise, but like, Rick and Scott, had a tremendous career in Japan. I can imagine, like a Rick Steiner and Buzz Sawyer, being in Japan working that style. Buzz Sawyer was legit amateur wrestler. Could go with anybody. And actually, Undertaker just brought him up on the Rogan podcast, which I actually finally went and watched. But yeah, Buzz Sawyer could go. He was a character, another guy with his demons, which probably held him back in a way. He had like one appearance for WWF, and that was about it, or something like that. He made, I think his match by Captain Lou on one Saturday morning show and never came back. I don't know what happened with that, but yeah, Buzz Sawyer. Nobody really talks about him that much. Terry Taylor, early Terry Taylor was a big fan. I was a big fan of that. A lot of people don't talk about much anymore. They know him as an agent, behind the scenes WWF. But you watch that early Terry Taylor dude, like people always talk about, ECW was my jam. Well, the UWF was my ECW as a fan growing up, because the action was fast action, hard-hitting action, great storylines. And, when the show went off the air, you're jonesing for the next week. It was another promotion that, like, I had to scan the channels to look for. Yet you really had to look for the UWF in the Philly, Jersey area. So underrated promotion, UWF, underrated wrestlers. Terry Taylor, Buzz Sawyer. There was a guy back in the day, Savannah Jack. Again, I'm going back to UWF. But, so many different guys. They're just so good. Greg Gagne was underrated, I think. I think he got a bad rap for being the owner's son, but you watch some of his matches, and he had good talent. He didn't have quite the look.
Right.
But, like, he can, like, his work, just judging on him on his work was great. But he just got a bad rap because he was Vern's son, you know.
I mean, there's a lot through the business. There's a lot of people you can break down and say underrated. And I guess it all depends on what underrated means, because you always hear about some people going, oh, they're underrated. And then talent will be like, they weren't underrated to the boys, you know?
Yeah.
We all
like
wanted to
Brad a Brad Armstrong.
Brad Armstrong, right. But here's the thing. Brad Armstrong, I don't know that he is underrated. I don't know that he was underrated because he didn't have the ability, or so it seemed, and so we've heard, didn't have the ability to bring what everyone knew backstage to the camera. So Is he underrated, or was he just not, or was he rated where he belonged?
I'm talking about, well, he wasn't underrated to the boys, but, you know,
right, because as
from a fan standpoint.
From a fan standpoint, I don't know that he was underrated. I think he was just, from the fan standpoint of when they're talking about the best workers, and they're going to go right to their Shawn Michaels, their Kurt Angles, their people like that, and they're not going to go to him. And in that regard, they're underrated.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it's, but I've always heard he was incredible in the ring.
Oh, yeah, but, like, I wish more people would talk about him or know about, like you said, everybody goes to the Steamboats, to Shawn Michaels and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Please, I dare people to start talking more about, you know, the Brad Armstrong.
The tapes are there, you know?
Yeah.
People can watch them and learn. Young people coming up in the business, look at what he's doing in the ring and try to figure out what he wasn't doing. Try to figure out what held him back, you know?
Yeah.
And that could have just not been him. That could have been just circumstance.
Yeah.
So, you know.
I mean, or you look at a guy like Larry Sweeney, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Larry Sweeney would be a star right now if he was still with us.
Yeah.
And I wish more people knew about him. So in a way, he was underrated. But circumstances being what they were, he's not with us anymore.
Right.
You know? He's an amazing heel, great talker, could get heat. Just wasn't on the biggest of the platforms to, you know, show what he could do. Because he was in Ring of Honor, but Ring of Honor isn't as big as it is now.
Right.
It was more, you know. But Larry Sweeney, definitely underrated, you know.
Next question comes from @Winston316. Any memories of working or hanging with Hack Myers? We're talking about the Shaw, Hack Myers from ECW.
Oh, Hack was great. It's one of the boys. Funny guy.
What was the Shaw? Where did this come from? Why did everybody chant Shaw, Shaw, Shaw every time he hit somebody?
Because every time he threw a punch, you know, when people, you know, do things in the ring, they make noise. And he'd throw a punch, he'd go, Shah, Shah, Shah. You know,
that's
like
awesome.
when
I think by the time I
Foley,
started watching him, the crowd was already doing it, so I didn't realize that was.
Yeah, just the crowd picked up on it and started doing it with him. You know, like Mick Foley when he sells, he goes,
yeah.
But you know, Hack Myers would throw a punch, and that was just the noise he made. Like, you know, Lex Luger throws a clothesline, it's like, Wah!
Yep,
you know. Or you get punch, yep. You know, he's making more noise than the guy throwing the punch. But you know, Hack Myers would do the jab, you know, Shah, Shah, Shah. And then when Balls Mahoney came along, they stole the Shah gimmick.
Made balls.
And balls. You know, when Hack Myers, it was Shah, Shah, Shah. And he would do the whoa, Shah.
Yep. And
then, like, if he would, you know, jab somebody, go Shah, Shah. And somebody would throw a punch back at him, they would go shit. So they go back for Shah, shit, Shah, shit, Shah. You know,
that's awesome.
It became so over that he started putting on his gear, the extreme Shah.
I never knew where that came from.
It was just his cadence for, you know, throwing punches. But yeah, good dude, man. This is another guy. It's a shame he's not with us. You know, when he passed away, it affected a lot of people. You know, because he came up in the Maryland wrestling scene. with that crew, Axel Rotten, Ian Rotten, the whole Maryland crew, Danny McDevitt shows, Maryland Championship Wrestling, and Dennis Whipwreck's promotion, Mid-Eastern Wrestling Federation, that whole area. And then he started coming up to ECW shows. He did some enhancement stuff, but then he got over. So he started getting wins and stuff like that. And then he eventually moved to Florida and totally changed his look, which, like, he came up for I'm on a 3PW show and shaved his head and looked nothing like he did back in the day. He lost a ton of weight. But, extreme shot. Great dude. Very likable,
Jonathan Chambers asks, did Meanie get a chance to work with Bobby Heenan?
Not with I've been on shows with Bobby Heenan. There was a series of like Wrestle Reunion shows back in 05, 04, 05. Did one in King of Prussia. We did some in Florida. And then the last time I saw Bobby Heenan was WrestleCon when WrestleMania was in Orlando. And made it a point to go up to him and, say, hey, how you doing? And, tell him how much I loved him. But I've been on shows with Bobby. Just never got to work directly with Bobby, which was a shame.
Anthony Camarada writes, what was Meanie's role as a trainer at the Monster Factory? Promo coach, or just the basic fundamentals?
Well, I still am a coach there. It's just haven't had a chance to get over there as much as I want, especially now with the pandemic. Danny Cage, the owner of Monster Factory, just hit me up. He got my, I got a Monster Factory tracksuit waiting for me over there.
Sweet.
Yeah. So I'm still one of the coaches there. It's just I need to get back over there. My main thing is, like, I don't get in there and, okay, this is a wrist lock. Okay, this is that. We have coaches who do the fundamentals first and all that stuff. I try to be more of a life coach. I like to be like to say I'm the finishing school. Like you're already up to working matches and stuff like that. I'll stand there and watch and critique your match. Talk to you about psychology, work on you coaching promos, stuff like that. Like I like to put the finishing touches. I mean, because we have a plenty of coaches over there who do the, first bump all the way up to, working matches. But sure. I like to watch the match, critique the match, watch the promo, critique the promo, and stuff like that. And work on the fine tuning, so to speak. And also prepare guys who are potentially looking to get tryouts with, WWE or whichever promotion they can, try to work with and stuff like that. So, I like to say I'm the finisher, the finish guy, as far as what to do at the Monster Fight. Yeah, I'm still a coach there. Just haven't had a chance to get back, but once everything gets back to normal, I'd like to get back over there. Yeah.
Follow up from Travis. Asked, did you help train Punishment Martinez? He's incredible. Damian Priest, obviously now in NXT.
Yeah. He had been in the business already, maybe 10 years before I got to him. But once he, and he was a Monster Factory kid, and Danny had him on shows. But that, he was already broken in. But I had a hand in helping him fine tune his skills, so to speak. And then he was there along with, Matt Riddle and QT Marshall from AEW. There was a good crew there, and Nick Camarado, who just started with AEW, who used to be in NXT. That crew was pretty cool. We had a pretty good crew. I mean, they have a good batch of students there now. LSG, who's in Ring of Honor, was there. Whole bunch of people. But as far as Punishment Martinez, we fine-tuned him, got him ready for different things. I mean, he was already broken in. He always had the skills. It's just a matter of, like I said, with Matt Riddle, he had all the tools, but we reprogrammed his motherboard, so to speak, from MMA to pro wrestling.
Last question here.
Yes.
Hugh Zuzu at Doom Buggy Dev. This could be difficult to choose. What are your top 3 favorite David Lee Roth era Van Halen songs and your top 3 favorite Sammy era Van Halen songs? Go.
Dude, I've been on a big Van Halen Fair Warning kick right now, but top 3 Dave era songs would have to be, well, Unchained is my ringtone, so there's that. Off of Women and Children First, Romeo Delight, which has one of the best openings, and that's my walk-up music in MLB The Show when I come to bat. Nice. And then okay. I always mess up the name. It's Secrets. Secrets on Diver Down.
Secrets.
It's a little bit of a lighter tune, but just the guitar work on that, it's fantastic. So yeah, Romeo Delight, off Women and Children First, Unchained, off Fair Warning, even though Fair Warning as a whole is my favorite album. And then Secrets off Dive Down. Sammy era, number 1 song is Humans Being, which is, ironically, that was their last song with Sammy before the breakup. It's like they put out one of the best songs, and I'm just like, yeah.
Like now we're cooking with oil. And
then this is Kurt Loder, Sammy Hagar out of Van Halen. What? Son of a bitch. Another tune that was a B-side that they never released, but it came out, called Crossing Over. A little, you have to look it up as a B-side for their last album, Balance. Crossing Over, the song's about Sammy Hagar, who had a dream that his tour manager, Ed Leffler, visited him in a dream, and he woke up to find out that Ed had passed away.
Oh, jeez.
So he's like, did Ed visit me? Like, did he die and then visit me while I was sleeping? It's basically a song about talking to somebody who has passed away, crossing over.
Oh, wow.
And when my mom passed, that was like one of the songs I kept playing over and over again. Lyrically, it's kind of deep and stuff like that. And it's a song nobody really knows. You really have to be a diehard Van Halen fan to know that song. But Crossing Over, which is a B-side, I forget what song it's for. Then
Travis says that he got to hear them play it live on that 04 Hager reunion tour.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And then this is going to be a wild card. The live version of 5150 off of Live Without a Net, which 5150 in itself is a great album. But I grew up, 5150 came out, and then they came out with an In Contra video called Live Without a Net. And the live version of 5150 the song 5150 is good, but the live version kills the studio version. Just like how everybody plays the live version of Rock and Roll All Night by Kiss.
Mm-hmm.
Over the studio version's okay, but the live version's way better.
Yeah.
Same with 5150 by Van Halen. Just that song, the way Eddie's solo in that song is probably one of his best solos in the song form.
Wow.
And that's saying a lot because dude, I just subscribed to a podcast by Dweezil Zappa called Running with the Dweezil, and he's breaking down every Van Halen album, and he's bringing in guys like Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, Nuno Betancourt from Extreme, and they're just being fanboys, but they're being technical because they know how to play guitar.
That's awesome.
And I'm hearing the music in a whole new manner, and
That's really cool.
I'm learning a lot of shit too because Fair Warning's my favorite Van Halen album, and And Dweezil's like, yeah, Eddie plays slide guitar on this one song. I went, what? This whole time I never knew Eddie played slide guitar.
That's great,
and
though.
Like,
I love stuff like that, where you kind of learn it. You know, we've talked about this before. We love anything that's behind the scenes on something. So,
I can watch the making of or listen to the behind the scenes of anything, really. And
awesome.
I'll get off this, but like, Fair Warning's my favorite album. He interrupts his podcast because he found a tape from 1982. Dweezil Zappa became friends with Eddie Van Halen when he was 12 years old, when Eddie came to visit his father, Frank Zappa, you know, and Eddie produced his first song, and Eddie sent him a tape, you know, like they give pointers. And Dweezil was like, hey, do you have any unreleased stuff from Fair Warning? Because that's his favorite album, too. And there's like a part of a song that nobody's ever heard, and he included in the podcast. So I'm just listening to it, and
that's crazy.
Fucking mind blown, you know? That's
crazy. Well, thank everybody for the Ask Meanie. Some great questions today.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Y'all make me think.
Yeah. I can
fun.
Smell it in here in your mind. It's oh man,
it's a little dusty.
Yeah, I hear you.
No, that's what I like about Ask Me Anything, because like these guys ask me questions, and I'm just like, makes me think, and then I'm like, oh yeah, UWF. That was my.
Well, it's cool because then we're learning more about you other than just the part of the show where it's, you know, what's on your mind, Meanie, what's going on. So it's kind of, I feel like the majority of the show is what's on your mind. And then that end section of the show is where we dig deep into your mind. We go back into your memory. We find some things. It's really cool. I think it's nice. Vanessa says, it sounds like us watching you guys. I think referencing you, listening to them. So very cool. Yeah. Well, this was fun, man.
Absolutely.
What do we have to plug? What do we have to say? This is the part where everyone goes, okay, I guess we're done. You don't have to turn it off. This is the drop-off point.
If we were smart, we'd front-load the podcast with our plugs. But, if you want to support... No, because we're bad businessmen.
Terrible.
Man, if you want to support us, go to prowrestlingtees.com/mindofthemeanie/Blue Meanie/ So Says Shernoff and / That Was Extreme.
Yep. I'm Ron Burgundy.
Ron Burgundy.
We have that up there. Some fun shirts up for That Was Extreme now too. Yeah, but Pro Wrestling Tees, the place to go for that. Hey, we still have a few pins left. Go buy some pins over at prowrestlingtees.com/mindofthemeanie. Do not forget to subscribe to us on social media at Mind of the Meanie, and as individuals at So Says Shernoff and at Blue Meanie BWO. That's across the board. That's Instagram. That's Twitter. That is the Facebook. So hit all of those up. We'd love to have you there. Let's talk a little bit about the YouTubes. YouTube.com/mindofthemeanie. We are going to, in February, get that video with the gentleman from Wildcat Belts. Hopefully we'll get to see some cool belts on there and stuff, and have some real deep dive nerd conversations. So subscribe now. It's going to be great. Also, thank you to everyone who subscribed to youtube.com/So Says Shernoff. I am now, last I checked, at 1,001. Dean. I've gone past Dean Malenko. And I'm nearing Chris Jericho. Their holds, definitely not their social media followers. And don't forget, Travis writes, and at Altcom Live, don't forget that. Yes. Follow us on social media at Altcom Live. That's alternative commentary. And at That Was Extreme. Follow us on Twitter as well on there, and on Facebook. Go at Altcom Live for the Rumble. We are going to be, I guess it's over. But we're going to be on FITE TV, alternative commentary, tomorrow night or yesterday, depending on when you're listening to this. And That's going to be a blast. But it'll be on FITE TV forevermore. You won't be able to watch it live. But let's say you watch the Rumble, and then you say, I wonder what these guys had to talk about. Go listen. Check it out. Turn it on. It'll be fine. You'll have a great time. So, that's, is that it? Go to manscaped.com, promo code Meanie. Save 20%, get free shipping. Why not? We don't have to give you the whole long sale. Just take care of your balls. That's it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Go to
smell like shit? Fine. Go smell like shit. Otherwise, use promo code Meanie.
Go to CollarElbowBrand.com. Use promo code Meanie, and save 10% off all your purchases. Go give Rod Hicks and Al Snow some love.
They'll take care of your balls, too.
Yeah.
What does everybody want? So,
balls.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
What am I reading here? Oh, no. Okay. And you can smell it. It's either bad meat or good cheese. Dear Lord. Anthony Camarado. What are you making me read on air?
Camarado.
Yeah. And Vanessa says got some AMC stock money coming in next week.
Nice.
Gonna get some Mind of the Meanie merch and up my tier. Awesome. Wow.
Whoop, whoop. Raise the roof.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's appreciated. So, yeah, that reminds us. Thank you. There's kind of a backdoor reminder there, Vanessa. Everybody, come join us over at patreon.com/Mind of the Meanie. We are so bad at this. We will not plug any of our things if we don't have our own members reminding us. But we are you can hear us on here. We have great interactions, and we want you to be a part of this chat as well. We want you to be here on Patreon, patreon.com/Mind of the Meanie. We are having a blast. We did some great watch-alongs. We did some great Zoom call. It was so much fun. And then every single week when we have our Patreon members watch this live as we record it, it is so much fun. So please check it out. And while you're at it, go over to, even if you don't listen to us via Apple Podcasts, go to Apple Podcasts, leave us a rating and review. If you think we deserve 5 stars, join the rest of the 5-star reviews that we are very appreciative of, and leave us, 5-star ratings, and leave us a review. It helps us a lot, helps to spread the word, helps Apple to put us out there as suggestions for people. So we greatly appreciate that. And yeah, I think that's it. I think I really hit everything, Meanie, and I didn't even play our music. So
46 shows, and we still haven't gotten this down yet.
45th show here.
45th show.
So 45 in, that means 5 more weeks until episode 50, and 8 more weeks until our 1-year anniversary. Is that correct?
Something like that.
So 5 more weeks is episode 50. So 7 weeks is episode 52, but 8 weeks is technically our anniversary show.
Yes.
Our 1-year anniversary show. So we are 8 weeks away for our 1-year anniversary show. Things are just going to get crazier. We've got some big things coming up. Big announcement to make that we're not going to make yet, but a big announcement.
Big announcement.
Yeah, big announcement. Coming in the next couple of weeks as it relates to some new and exciting things happening right around episode 50. So we've got some fun stuff coming up that we're excited to share with you. Go to cellotoys.net and pre-order our action figures. If you're in the States, go to JB Toys 1 on Instagram, and he will hook you up as well. I think that's it, Meanie. That's all I've got to give.
I think we shot our load with that.
Yep.
With that,
so as I
always,
my eyes.
Again, thank you to everybody who's been listening week in, week out. Thank you for all the feedback. Greatly appreciated. Nothing is better than somebody just sending me a random text or a random message on Facebook or Twitter with a line from the show where they say, "Oh man, this fucking line got me." Not that we're like looking to potentially have sound bites, but there's been a few sound bites, over these 40 some odd weeks. So who knew that we'd be lasting this long? And I'm glad we are. I'm glad we're here. I'm glad you're listening. So thank you to everybody on the Patreon. Thank you anybody who downloads on Mondays. Thank you to everybody who listens on YouTube. It's all greatly appreciated. I know it sounds like I'm trying to butter you up, but it means a lot, because otherwise it'd just be us talking to each other, and we could just pick up the phone and do that. So
do you want to just do that instead? So much less work. No, we would never, because this is awesome. And one last thing I forgot to plug. Go to cameo.com. Cameo.com/Blue Meanie BWO. Correct?
Yes.
Nailed it.
Correct.
Cameo.com/Blue Meanie BWO and cameo.com/So Says Shernoff. That's right. I am on Cameo. All of your dreams have come true. You can now get a message from me. But more importantly, you can get a message from the Meanie. But go and check it out. And everybody have a wonderful week. And we will see you again, or you will hear us again, or however it is. One of these days I'm going to get it right. But we'll catch you again next Monday and every Monday for another trip into the mind of the Meanie.